I first heard about Scott the Antarctic as a schoolboy. They died having covered nearly 1,600 miles on foot, and that remains in many ways the sort of high watermark of human endeavour in one of the toughest places on the planet.
What British explorer Captain Scott had hoped to do was become the first man to reach the South Pole. It was only when his team got there on January the 17th, 1912, they found they'd been beaten to it. Roald Amundsen had staked the claim 33 days earlier for Norway.
I can't imagine how their morale must have been turning around at the pole, having found a Norwegian flag there and having to walk all the way back to the coast.
A century on, the two-man team of Ben Saunders and Taka Lepinière is setting off to finish what Scott didn't, make the longest unsupported polar journey in history.
When I kind of realised that not only had this journey not been finished, but that no one's attempted it in the 101 years since Scott, it just seemed to me to be hanging out there as a journey that ought to be finished.
Well, there's a reason why people haven't tried it.
I think there's a few reasons. Yeah, it's a very long walk in it is still genuinely a very challenging journey.
17 marathons back to back?
70, yes, yeah. So 1,800 miles, 2,900 kilometres. We've got 110 days to do it, so nearly 4 months.
An expedition 10 years in the making, these two British explorers are well prepared for what will be the longest unsupported polar journey in history. They've spent months at a time training on glaciers, climbing out of crevasses, and building strength and endurance. But their greatest advantage will be technology. You're not going to be left stranded because you've got communication and you've got this backup. So that's one fundamental difference.
We have clothing, equipment, nutrition and technology that Scott could never even have dreamt of. So we are, even though it sounds like a low-tech undertaking, we're on foot, trudging away for 1,800 miles. It actually has more in common with spaceflight than with guys sort of dragging wooden sleighs around.
One thing that probably hasn't changed is the boredom involved in these trips. Scott, on the Beardmore Glacier in 1911, 6th of December, we have camped in the Slough of Despond. Yeah. I mean, you're going to have the same psychological issues that he has,
yes.
aren't you?
Yeah.
If you're not got the same physical
I mean, the technology to a degree can help alleviate that. Without wanting to sound too flippant compared to Scott's story, we were training in Greenland this year and stuck in a really bad storm for about 48 hours, and we were testing two of these Ultrabooks laptops with us, and we're able to watch a movie, which was a first for me in more than 300 nights in a tent north of the Arctic Circle. So we watched Inception, lying in our sleeping bags.
Escapism from what Scott described on his ill-fated journey as an awful place. Max Foster, CNN London.